Welcome to Beer Net Radio. Listen to on every continent except Antarctica. B-E-E-R-R-N-E-T.
Beer.
Beer Net Radio.
All right.
The two Harry Schumachers? Is that what y'all are laughing about?
Yeah, she's logged in as me.
What's up?
I was wondering why I didn't have to let you in.
Wait, let's see. Rename.
Yeah, you're real loud. Real loud. So you gotta either
Well, that doesn't. I think honestly.
Stop.
Okay, I put the input down, but you said I was Harry. You said I was really loud when I didn't even have the Yeti on, so I think it's on your end. That was my regular computer.
Jordan, is she loud?
It's a little loud, but I don't know if that's because you're just close to the...
I'll just turn my mic. I'll turn my headphones down.
Okay, let's see. How is this?
That's really loud.
Oh my God!
So how's everybody?
You look super thrilled, Harry.
Yeah.
I don't feel well. I think I'm getting sick.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah, I've had a fever all night, but hopefully it's just a bug or something.
As opposed to what?
Everybody's getting a certain kind of bug right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just like sweating balls and it's like 65 in here.
Oh my gosh.
I just changed into a new shirt. So we'll I did take a COVID test, so
An at-home one or a legit one?
Yeah.
a home one. Yeah.
A fairy dust one?
It's like one of those pregnancy tests where you really can't tell because the second line is so dim. It's like, I mean, that's it.
It looks like 2 lines from here.
It had been 15 minutes, Jen. Just give it some time.
I don't know what it's going to look like in 15 minutes, but right now it looks like you got COVID.
Let that line get a little bit darker.
Are we sharing a room at the Hotel
Oh
Emma?
God, Jesus.
So what if I do have COVID? So what does that mean? Does that mean that I'm out for Friday? Or
Yes, and Thursday. It's Tuesday.
So Les and I had it a couple weeks ago.
Oh wow, everybody's been getting it.
Yeah, and
except for Jen. Jen's the only person in America that's never gotten it.
It's true.
But Harry, she got a test on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was Tuesday. She got an official test from Walgreens or whatever.
Yeah.
And San Antonio Metro Health called on Friday and said, did a quick survey and said, okay, you're free to go back out.
Wow.
Is she tested positive on Tuesday?
Yeah.
It's
so just 4 days.
Yeah. That is nuts.
Yeah, I felt bad all weekend. So I feel like I'm on the tail end, but I couldn't tell if I was actually sick or if I was just hungover. Because I went out.
Harry.
I went out Friday night and not out. I just, had a day. And then I just felt, or maybe it was Saturday. I can't remember. Anyway, I have 2 tests. So I'll take another one. That one looked really faint. I'm only halfway pregnant, Jen.
Oh my God. We'll have to talk about this later. I'm not comfortable hanging around you if you have COVID today.
You're not comfortable hanging around me, period.
That's not true. I can handle you, please.
Biscuit, I hope you don't catch it, dumb dog.
Or Biscuit's like, I gave it to you, buddy.
Probably did. It's a dirty, rotten scoundrel over here.
So Jordan, when did you have the vid?
In that slide, Jordan just kind of slides in. Like he didn't tell anybody. He just, kept working. It was like 2 weeks ago, right? When he started back, right?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't get an official test, but Leslie did, and I didn't feel too great. So pretty sure. But luckily, Lennon didn't have really any change in her mood or anything. So,
Wow.
and when we talked to the pediatrician, they just said, yeah, just keep breastfeeding and doing what you're doing. Just don't give her to somebody else and spread it that way.
Well, I mean, it doesn't seem like you're out there handing your baby off to people at this point.
I know, but
family, right?
Yeah, that's what they said is, I think, most people, as soon as they find out, they want the baby to go stay with somebody else.
Yeah.
But really, you're just spreading it around.
If you want to make sure that she gets inoculated from COVID, you can bring her over. Biscuit and I can take care of her. She can get in the hot tub with us. And
God.
Just putting the baby in the hot tub.
I know, right? Like COVID is the least of your worries.
Okay. Well, let's see what we got here.
Hey.
Hi there.
Hi, y'all.
Hello.
How are you?
Hello. Welcome to BeerNet Radio. You've reached the pinnacle of your career. Finally. I know you've
right.
been...
Well, I think the dog resting next to you is living the best life.
Yes, she is. Well, I have big news for you, Mallika. Is it Mallika or Mallika? I always forget.
It's Mallika. You got it right on one.
Okay, Mallika. You're the first to know this. You and the people on this call. You ready for it? This is exclusive news. I'm pregnant.
With COVID?
I have the freaking COVID. I can't
Again?
believe again.
Oh, right? You should get a frequent flyer card for that.
I know.
Is it weird that I know you had it already? Is it
I
weird
know.
that I'm that connected?
I mean, yeah, it's a little weird. No, it's as public as I am about every illness I have, then yes, it's not weird at all. So anyway, I feel fine. Nobody cares. I might just be a little sweaty. All right. Well, listen, thank you so much for being on BeerNet Radio. Mallika, we, of course, have Jen Litz-Kirk on the line and Jordan Driggers, our editors.
Hi, Jen and Jordan. Nice to see you both.
Yeah, I think they have some questions for you, especially Jen. She's always barking up the trees.
That's me, Mallika, barking up the trees. How are you? Thanks for being on. So yeah, lots of things to talk about. I mean, you're coming up, I think, on like a 3-year anniversary since being named Chief Growth Strategy and Digital Officer. Am I about right there?
I think that's right. Time flies when you're having fun.
You have a lot of hats, though. I mean, geez, growth, strategy, digital, like one of those would have been enough, but you've got all three. So I'm kind of curious, when you look back over the past 3 years, what are some of your like benchmark achievements, right? And also what has been the most challenging?
I love that question. I joke that I have one of the most varied and fun jobs in the industry. People might fact check me on that, but what I've been really proud of, and the team's been really focused on, despite everything that's been happening in the market through COVID, has been how much we've done on a couple of fronts. Really building a consumer-driven obsession within our business, driving innovation, which we've seen exciting success with, and then our focus on e-commerce. On the consumer side, we talk a lot at Constellation about being a consumer-obsessed company. For us, that means really putting the consumer at the center of how we think about decisions and how we look at white space opportunities and how we build brands. And in the last year, we talked about 200,000 consumers, really trying to understand motivations and purchase behavior, macro trends that are driving how they think about purchasing brands. And then we've embedded that across our business in how we think about brand building. You see that come to life in some of the stories that we're telling on Modelo, for example, and some of the ways we look at innovation. And that's been really exciting to see come to life in that way. On innovation, it's become much more of a focus and a muscle for us over the last few years, and really driven by this understanding that we need to augment our portfolio to go where consumers are going and think differently about the products we put in the market. But we're really disciplined and thoughtful about it. You're not going to see us throw a lot of stuff at the wall. What we've been focused on is making sure we're being consumer driven. So what's the right consumer opportunity to go after? How to think about bringing those ideas to life. You see us do a lot of brand extensions because we believe in this power that we have in these great brands that we have in the portfolio, and the opportunity to recruit new drinkers and expand occasions in the right way. And then we're really focused on incrementality. We want to make sure we're bringing ideas to the market that are certainly incremental to our business, but also incremental to the partners that we work with, the Gold Network and our retail partners. And that approach has been really successful for us. We're the only company in alcohol today that's driving a really great balance of growth on our core. And we've got this phenomenal core that still has tremendous opportunity for growth and on our innovation. And we like that balance in the portfolio. And we're also sticky with the ideas that we put in market. We use a 3-year view to say, are our brands growing? Are the innovations we're putting in market still sustainable? And for the most part, we're seeing that to be true. And that's a barometer of success for us. And I'm really excited about not just the output, the results that we're driving, but the innovation capability we've built across Constellation in the last few years. And then finally, e-commerce. We were early believers in the opportunity that e-commerce could present itself. You just look at other consumer goods, and e-commerce is such a big part of transformative growth for a lot of industries. We're a little bit later in alcohol because of the environment we're in, but we bet early and we invested ahead of growth, both in the capabilities that we have inside the company, as well as how we thought about bringing our brands into the digital space. And we saw great results last year. We grew ahead of the segment. We're beating our competition. We're really excited about that ahead of the game opportunity that we've seen, and are excited about how we're bringing both product to life, but also some of the thought leadership that we're bringing our retailers about how we manage the digital shelf and things like that. So it's been a wild ride over the last 3 years, but we're having a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Lots to unpack there too. I want to ask about innovation, which is obviously something you touched on, but that was interesting what you said about sort of a 3-year horizon for brands. Is that like how long you guys give new innovations to really kind of flesh out in the market before you decide whether to graduate them or pull them, or how does that work?
It's a great question. 3 years is sort of a yardstick that we're looking at as we think about, is it sustainable? And after 3 years, it's just part of the portfolio. We don't think of it as innovation anymore. When it comes to how long we give a brand in the market that we're testing, I think it sort of depends. We believe that new brands require patience to get the right consumer understanding, to get the right trial. I don't know that we've always had the best amount of patience with new ideas, but that's sort of, I think, the way in which brands are built. There are lots of examples of brands that came out of the gate, floundered a bit, and then found their way and became quote unquote overnight successes, even though they've been in the market for 10 years. We've had some good success with test to learn. That's sort of our approach. We put new ideas in market, geographically test them, and then as they do well, we scale them. We did that with Corona Premier. We're testing a couple of ideas on Modelo this year. So we'll continue to do that and put the right fuel and focus to make sure they have a fair chance in the marketplace to succeed.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting because to your point, I mean, you said 10-year horizon, that was kind of blue moon, but some people say, like Corona wasn't an overnight success either, right? And look at it now.
That's right, Modelo even, right? Modelo is a great example of that as well.
How about, okay, you knew I was going to ask you this for sure, right? We're talking about innovation, Fresca mixed, right? That hasn't actually launched yet, right? Or has it started to test or?
It hasn't launched yet. It'll launch in August, but we're gearing up and I'm really excited for the opportunity in the marketplace.
Yeah, we're waiting with bated breath. But like, what else can you tell me about, how the relationship came to pass with, Coke and ideating this? Did they come to you? Did you come to them? I don't know if that's really well known.
It's a great question. It's been a year in the making, and it's a little bit bittersweet to have this product launch because Paul Hetrich and I worked on this from day one together. And I had a great time partnering with him on bringing the idea to life. Coke came to us and they wanted to talk about potential opportunities and ways to use some of their trademarks paired with our distilling and brewing expertise and route to market. And we talked about a number of different ideas on the table. Fresca felt like this great opportunity for both sides. It fits really well with our strategy, which is a belief in the power of brands that are well loved and have great consumer following, which Fresca certainly does. There's this nation of Fresca lovers out there who are already mixing vodka and tequila with Fresca. There's this built-in consumer behavior we're excited to tap into. And they have similar beliefs like us on how to build brands with the right amount of investment and focus and execution, and a belief in letting consumers come into a space with a differentiated idea, which is what we wanted to bring to market. And it was just this great relationship from the beginning. We've been really excited to partner with them and to build this brand for the alcohol space.
And I don't know if, speaking of, building brands for the longer term, and it takes work and nurturing, but how big of a bet is this, right? How big of a bet is this? And then how big is Constellation betting on RTD spirits specifically?
On the RTD side, we certainly see this space as being important for our overall ambition, which is to lead the high end and drive share growth in the category. And so you have to win in this flavored alternative beverage space, and RTD is certainly part of that. And so from that respect, it's an important part of our strategy. And we're excited for what the opportunity means in a really meaningful way to enter RTD on the beer side of our business. At the same time, we're also, as you know, really focused on our core. So ensuring that we're continuing to drive the tremendous growth that we expect to see from Modelo and the results we expect to see from Corona. And so for us, it's a balance between making sure that the core business has the focus and investment and priority, as well as bringing this exciting new idea with Fresca to the marketplace.
And that will go through the beer distributors, right? Okay.
Yes, it will primarily go through the Gold Network, where we're legally able to do that. There are a handful of states where it'll go through wine and spirits networks.
Got it. Okay, cool. And then just one more from me, and then I'll pass it on. The Focus on Female Founders Fund, right? Which is focus on female, say that 5 times fast. Didn't realize that until now. So you guys recently brought on Austin Cocktails. That's really cool, getting to know those guys in my backyard. But how do you go about researching and vetting these suppliers that you partner with in that fund? And how has that process sort of evolved in the last 4 years?
How much time do we have? I could talk about female founders all day. It is that program is really a passion project for me. And it really is for us the opportunity to bet on high potential founders with great consumer driven and differentiated ideas. That's what we're looking for at the core. And we want these businesses, of course, to be female led or female founded. And we identify them in a lot of different ways. Often it is inbound. So we've got a lot of entrepreneurs who directly reach out to us, either through email or LinkedIn or the website. We've got employees who flag brands that they think we should be paying attention to. But we also do a lot of outreach ourselves and a lot of proactive work to identify and build a pipeline of entrepreneurs and businesses we can invest in, almost always aligned to how we think about where we should be betting. So we have a perspective on the segments in the marketplace that we want to play in. And then we're actively looking for businesses that fit either the Female Founders Program or the sister fund that we have for Black and minority founders, which we launched in 2020, to really think through the right way to identify people we want to partner with. And then it becomes a conversation to make sure that they are comfortable with us and we're comfortable with them and the growth opportunity and the way to bring these ideas to life.
Has it changed at all? How is it evolved since the founding about 4 years ago or so? Or
yeah, it's a great question. We've done really well with our investments. I think we're ahead of where we thought we would be. About half of our portfolio now is female founded or female led, which is exciting. The biggest lesson for me has been on both funds. The biggest lesson for me has been how early stage these businesses actually are. Prior to launching the Female Founders Fund, we were doing corporate venture investing, and most of our investments were in businesses that had a little bit of history. They had some sales under their belt. There was a track record in national accounts, enough evidence that the idea was working. Because of the deficit of funding a lot of these founders get, they just haven't had the chance to be out in market that long. So they're earlier stage businesses, which has changed how we think about the kind of support we bring to our partners, but also the amount of time we think success will take. It just takes a little bit longer because we're starting earlier. But it's been exciting to partner with founders like Jill and Kelly on Austin Cocktails to partner with them as they bring their visions to life. And then we've been really excited to welcome the Austin Cocktails team into the Constellation family.
Well, Harry, you got something you want to get off?
No, I just wanted to say that I saw, I know I always have to butt in, but I saw Mike McGrew speak at Ben's thing a couple weeks ago in Chicago, and it was interesting how, it was a panel on ESG, and it was interesting how he said every conversation now starts with that, where it used to be just kind of an add-on, and he made a great point. We want to reflect our consumers. I mean, it makes a complete sense. And one other question before Jordan, I have a theory, and this is more philosophical, and I wanted to get your opinion on it. Especially before COVID, the conventional thinking has always been, especially when you have a new brand or innovation, that you build brands in the on-premise, and that's where you generate trial. And then you make your money on the off-premise where the consumer goes to buy it, right? And, the pandemic put a stop to that. And, it seems to me like, retail marketing from an e-commerce standpoint, including retailers and Drizzly and Instacart and others, is kind of the new on-premise, or at least it's another way to generate trial with consumers without them having to go to a bar or restaurant. Is that true, or are we just going back to the old ways?
I think it's certainly, the digital space is certainly opening up a new way to connect with consumers. And we've been talking a lot about the on-premise coming back. What's the role of digital commerce? So people just revert back to behavior pre-COVID, or is digital here to stay? I believe digital is here to stay. But I think if you go back to how brands used to be built in the on-premise, it was really about sampling and a great experience that's socially connected with consumers in whatever environment that on-premise account needed to be. And I think that one-to-one connection with consumers is still the key point, whether you do it off-premise in a sampling environment, on-premise as consumers experiment with brands, or in the digital space as people discover new things that they can impulse shop and add to their cart. It really is about brands telling authentic stories, driving sampling. You still have to have great tasting liquid, and then connect emotionally with consumers in a relevant way. And I think that will continue to be true regardless of where consumers interact with your brand.
And has Constellation's big push into e-commerce already, is that already taking place?
It's absolutely already taking place. We set an ambition a few years ago that we wanted to be the runaway leader in e-commerce. We want to beat the market. And we want to do that not just in terms of sales and consumer takeaway, which is clearly very important, but also in the kind of innovative and thought leadership initiatives where we're bringing to the market and the way we partnered with distributors and retailers. And we're doing well on both fronts. Last year we beat the market by about 41%. We're really excited to see the progress we were making and the consumer takeaway of our brands. And on the thought leadership side, we've built some really powerful relationships and conversations with the thinking that we're bringing and how we manage the digital shelf. We still have the program Shopper First Shelf that's done a tremendous amount of benefit for our portfolio and for our distributors. We have a version of that for the digital space and helping think through the right way to manage the digital shelf. And so that's underway and seeing a lot of great progress. And we are bringing a lot of consumer insights and analytics to our partners as they think about their own digital strategies and ways in which to drive e-commerce. So I'd say we're feeling really good about the progress we've made and the results we're driving. And we're well in line with where we would expect to be as the market has shifted. We started this pre-COVID, and so we've ridden that wave as well.
Yeah, it seems like y'all have been, y'all are ahead of the curve in e-commerce. I'm not just saying that because you're on the call, but because I've observed it. And when I go online, Modelo is always the first thing that comes up, no matter what I'm looking for. I could put in, I don't want a Mexican beer, and Modelo is still the first thing that comes up. But now, and just managing, I know that managing the content, they call it, just getting the right price and the picture is is something that we didn't have to mess with a few years ago at all. And now it's a whole department, right? I mean, it's kind of a whole ecosystem now of managing. It's difficult.
That's
Anyway.
right. And we've invested quite a bit in the technology that allows us to manage that content, because you want to get the image right, the pricing right, the product details right, as consumers shop around and want to experiment. And that investment has allowed us to deliver across our retailer set the right level of content accuracy, which matters to them as well, because that's how you sell when consumers are attracted into the brand based on what they see on their screens.
Yeah, if you have a mismatch with an image with a product description, you've lost that consumer forever. They're not. That's do investigation beyond.
That's right. And how often have you bought something online where you didn't see a picture of what it actually was?
Never. I bought this dog online. I didn't look at it. I should have. Never trust a pink-nosed dog. That's what they say. All right, Jordan, I'm done.
Yeah. Okay.
Unless
We'll
Biscuit, do you have any
He
questions?
says that now, but he'll be back.
I know it. Well, following up on the last question from Jen, what about larger strategic partnerships and acquisitions? Is there any white space you all think could be best served via M&A?
You know, we're always looking at growth opportunities. And I'd say the way we think about long-term growth for Constellation falls in sort of two vectors. The first is around driving the growth of our core business. There's still so much runway on the brands that we own, and we're really focused on making sure we can go after that in an effective way. But then as we think about white space and consumer opportunities, we're looking at it in a handful of ways. Should we build it? And that's where the innovation strategy comes into play, often as a brand extension of something that we have, but we've also experimented with launching new to the world brands and really looking to see how we can incubate in interesting ways. We look at ventures investing, and so we're doing a fair amount of that in the corporate ventures portfolio, including into more nascent trends. So, you know, you've seen us invest in hot water and Karma as examples of spaces that are not part of our core business, but we're looking to understand. And then we will do acquisitions, and we've done a number of bolt-on acquisitions recently. Austin Cocktails, which Jen talked about, is a good example. We also bought Lingua Franca, which is part of our luxury wine strategy on the wine and spirit side of the business. So for us, it's a combination of those things to say, where should we play? And then what's the most effective way for us to drive scalable growth?
I have one more follow-up, as I always do. You know, you've talked a lot about, you know, the core being so important, right? And extensions of the core is one way you innovate. I have to ask, because I've heard it from Jordan and I've heard it from my husband, because I think they, for one reason or another, missed the announcement at the Gold Network Summit, but about Modelo ranch water, right? And so they've seen it either via billboard and they, oh my God, did you know about the, you know? So what sort of feedback have you guys gotten on that so far? Any early reads you can share?
Yeah, you know, so we've got 3 Modelo ideas in test in various markets this year. Ranch water in Texas is one of them, also Modelo Oro and Modelo Cantarito. And it's been interesting to watch ranch water. The liquid is fantastic. If you haven't had a chance to try it, we'll have to get you some. It tastes phenomenal. And we're getting really great feedback from consumers about the taste, but also about the brand itself. And so we're seeing, it's early days on all 3 of those tests, but we're seeing some great consumer takeaway, great consumer feedback. We're excited about the potential of all 3 of them, and are working through, okay, what happens next, especially as all 3 ideas are getting very great consumer and retailer feedback.
Cool. Yeah, I think, Jordan, any more from you? Because I think I'm all good for once.
There was one I wanted to ask, and I'm not sure how much you strategize, you know, around supply, but along those lines, were there any big learnings that y'all took from all the out of stocks that you experienced? If, you know, being in the market, if one brand wasn't there, did it prop up, you know, another brand's growth trends, or did you realize that maybe there was some packaging that, you know, it didn't matter if it was there or not, so to speak?
Yeah, you know, we have, I will say, really smart and hardworking teams across the business, supply chain, operations, and sales, who strategize around making sure we've got the right amount of supply in the right places. Thankfully, it doesn't have to be me. And we're really excited that we're coming out of that as we go into the summer. But we did learn some really interesting things over the time when we had supply chain challenges. The first was how, and we knew this going in, of course, but our consumers are really loyal. They love these brands and they want to stay in the brands. And so what we found was when a certain pack size or format wasn't available, consumers picked the same brand, but were willing to trade to a different format or pack size. And so we kept about 80% of the volume that we would expect within the brand family as consumers traded into different formats that were available. And then we also saw consumers shift to other brands within our portfolio. So we kept about 90% of the volume we would expect to see within the Constellation beer portfolios. If Corona wasn't available, they moved to Modelo or Pacifico or vice versa. And so because consumers had that willingness to move around and we were able to keep the brands as strong as they are, that was something we benefited from.
I'm curious, which brands have the most overlap? Is it Corona and Modelo, or is it Modelo and Pacifico? Like if this one was out, they were most likely to go to this other brand family.
Well, Modelo and Corona are more national in a way than Pacifico, which still has a lot of geographic concentration in the West. But it was really, so Corona and Modelo having the most pack formats and the most geographic distribution are the ones that we saw that with.
What keeps you up at night, Mallika? A lot of people are worried about a recession. Inflation has wreaked havoc on pricing categories and gaps. What else keeps you up at night?
Those are macro forces that are certainly things that everybody is watching. But I think what keeps me up at night is how much choice consumers have today. There's so much proliferation of new brands. There's so much clutter at the shelf because there are so many things you can choose from. That consumer choice is what makes me really passionate and excited about building brands, telling the right stories, creating great innovation and liquids that consumers want to bring home and share with friends and family, and doing all of that in authentic and relevant ways to build the brands. We don't take our consumers for granted. We know they have choices in front of them. We want to earn that choice of us. And that's the thing we're really focused on.
It seems like there was kind of a big push a few years ago about total beverage alcohol with Constellation, and you don't hear that as much anymore. Do y'all still work closely with wine and spirits altogether, or is it because it's kind of distributed separately? It's still kind of a separate deal.
Yeah, we certainly had things that we tried on the total beverage alcohol front that we've unwound a little bit. But I would say we still believe that being a total beverage alcohol company is an advantage for us because it allows us to start with the consumer first, really understanding what are consumers looking for? How do they think about the right taste profile, the right brand, occasion, format, and then work through the right idea for consumers. And Fresca is a great example of this. It's a spirit-based RTD, and we spent some time talking about where does it make the most sense. We could have put it in wine and spirits. We brought it to beer because of the kind of brand it is, the scale with which we wanted to put it in the marketplace and the channel and format strategy. But we have those discussions all the time when it comes to innovation. My team works across beer, wine, and spirits. So I spend a lot of time on the wine and spirit side of the house as well. And there's a lot of consumer work and innovation work that crosses the two divisions, but then we partner with the business units to make sure we're bringing the right idea to market in the right way to go after what we're trying to build.
Right.
So it's still there. We're still focused on it, and it's part of how we think about opportunity.
Right. And the Fresca thing, it just occurred. What's the base liquor on the Fresca thing? Is it tequila or vodka?
It's both. We've got a tequila Paloma, which is tequila based, and then a vodka Fresca as well.
Okay, so you're ahead of me. I was going to say it's a Paloma, really, when you think about it. I mean,
and they taste fantastic, Harry. This is amazing liquid.
I've been drinking Fresca with vodka and tequila forever, so it's not a big leap for me for sure. And well, that's great. Well, guys, I don't want to keep everybody's time. And I really do appreciate you taking the time to be on here, Mallika. It's very interesting. And, I think we're going to have a good summer. I'm going to go ahead and make a prediction. It's going to be a big beer summer. I think beer, RTDs, I think last year was a reset with all the inventory and the shortage. We had too much inventory. We had shortages. It was crazy. Now everything's set. On-premise is open. The package situation's better. I see clear skies. Do you?
I do. We are excited for a great summer. We're excited that we're able to supply the incredible demand we have for our brands. We've got exciting marketing. We've got great products in the market. We're looking forward to this summer.
Good. Okay. Well, thanks for being on. Thanks for drinking beer, and we'll shout at you down the road. How about
Thank
that?
you. It was great to see all of you. Harry, feel better.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Yeah.
Thank you.